So for today's video, we're going to be working on a flower shop dataset. So first things first, let's start with the database. So I'm going to go to databases, right click, and I'm going to create a new database. And we're going to name this flower shop. And I'm just going to go ahead and create that. Next, go over to new query and we can open a new query tab like that. Now over here, just select this and we're going to select the database we just created, which is flower shop. Now we can go ahead and import our data. So let's come over to databases and we're going to expand this. Select your database, right click, and then go to tasks. Then we're going to import a flat file, and I'm going to go to specify input file, go to browse, and we're going to select the dataset, and we're just going to go ahead and open that. I'm going to just remove the spaces and I'm going to name this flower shop sales. The link to the link for this dataset is going to be in the description below. So I'm just going to click on next and we can see a preview of our data, and this is what it's going to look like. Let's go to modify columns, and for everything here, quantity, let's change it to int, just in case our quantity goes beyond what tiny int can take. Same thing with int, just in case we have any calculations that may go beyond what we need. What is here? Total sales. We are going to make this float like this, and for these other types we can leave it like this. So this is what is going to be the settings for your columns when you want to import them. Now we're going to go to next, no issues here, and we're going to finish, and we have inserted our data. Now we can begin our exploratory data analysis. Let's take a look at our data. So I'm just going to select all from, we're going to reference our table, which is oops, it's not referencing it properly, no worries. Flower shop sales, and I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to use F5 to run this query. So now you can see our data. So this is what we have for entire data. Let me say you just want to see let me say the first 10. So instead you could do top 10, and then we're going to run this. You have the first 10 items in your data set, or you want to see the first 20 items in your data set, you can also do this and run this, and this is what you have. So you can see here we have this sort of error, but even though it's showing that red line, it's still running our query properly. So I'm just going to refresh it. So use Ctrl Shift and R, and I'm going to give it a moment, and you'll see that this red line is going to disappear, and now we've refreshed our query, so you won't have that red line. Yeah, let's see the number of records we have in this data set. So I'm just going to, let's say we're just going to, let me just come down here, and I'm going to select, and then we're going to count all. So this is a smaller data set, but just in case you have a much larger data set, this will come in handy. So let me see number of records. So I'm just going to number of records, and then from, now this time our table will show up since we've refreshed, and I'm going to select this entire thing, run this query, and again it's just 1000. You could easily scroll down when you run this particular data set if you're not doing top 20, and you'll be able to see it. But just in case you have a much larger data set, this is what you can use to know how many entries you have in your data set. So I'm just going to come over here so that we can know what we're looking at. I'm just going to write this as total number of records. And that's it for this particular one. Next, let's do a summary of our entire data set. So we took a moment to look at it, but let's take a closer look at what's going on. So I'm just going to write summary here, and now we're going to select, and then we're going to start with the start date. So we'll do minimum, and then we'll reference the date column as the, let's call it start date, and let's look at the max. So I want to see the end date, reference the date column once more, and it's going to be as end dates. Next, what else? We're going to count the number of cities. So we'll do a count distinct of the cities column, so, or rather the city column, as, let's say, number of cities among, let me just, I'm going to copy this entire query and paste it, and we're going to count the products. And that's going to be, let's say, number of products here. And let's add one more. Let's say the number of categories. And this is going to be the number of categories. There's no need for this extra comma. And we're going to reference our table, which is going to be from the flower shop sales table. And I'm just going to run this query. And so the start date is 1st of January 2024, and the end date is the 28th of December 2024. So it's essentially an entire year spanning 2024. Number of cities, 10 cities, we have 10 products, and we have 4 categories, and that's the summary of our data set. Next, let's look at the total sales. So I'm just going to I'm going to make this total sales. So we're going to select, and we're going to get the sum of the total sales column as total sales, and this is going to be from flower shop sales. And we're going to run this query with F5. So the total sales is 60,676. Let's now check the average sales per transaction. So I'm just going to say average sales per transaction. So instead of writing it out again, I'm just going to copy this entire query, and I'm going to paste it here. This time we're going to take the average, and this is going to be average sales, and we're just going to run this. So the average sale per transaction, well, not surprisingly, because remember our number of the entries is 1000, so we have a multiple of 10, so it's just about moving decimal places. That's why the average is exactly $60.676, because it's just about moving 3 decimal places to the left. Yeah, that's the average sale per transaction. Next up, let's see the sales by date. So let's see sales by dates, and I'm just going to scroll down a bit. So let's select dates, and then we're going to get the sum of the total sales as daily sales. We're going to make this from flower shop sales, and we're going to group by dates. Okay, so let's run this, and this is our daily sales. So remember, our data set goes from for the entire year. Let's order by dates because it's not okay. Let's add order by dates. Now I'm going to run this one more time. Okay, now we have our dates in order. So we have our sales from January down to December. So this is the daily sales trend. Yeah, that's it for this one. Before we move on to the next one, what if you wanted to see which day? So since we ordered by the dates, it's ordering, from the first day to the last day in the data set. So let's do an you can change this query, but we can do this. I'm going to this time let's order by total sales, so you can see let's order by daily sales, and we're going to do it in descending order. So you can see from highest to lowest. So we can say that the 20th of May has the highest sale, and I'm going to scroll down. So let's say we have this is just I think 200 and something that we saw, but if you had the larger data set, you probably won't be able to scroll down to the end. So let's just look at the day with the highest sale, and we can look at also the day with the lowest sale. So let's just come over to this, and this time we'll select the top one date for daily sales, and we can just run this. So of course we saw that 20th of May, the 20th of May has the highest sale. So let's change this to ascending order, so at this time we will see the dates with the lowest sale, and I'll run this. So we have the 4th of March as the lowest sale daily sales of just $12. And yeah, okay, we are finally done with this sales trend. We can move on to something else. Next, let's look at the monthly sales. So I'm just going to this is monthly sales. Let me scroll down a bit. So select, we're going to use year function, and we're going to select the date column as year, and we're going to use month as well, and we're going to select date as month, and we're going to get the total sales. So that's going to be sum of total sales, and that's going to be monthly sales. And I'm going to reference our table, which is the flower shop sales. We're going to group by the year and dates. I'm also going to group by month. Also, we're going to add date here. Let's also order by the same. We're going to order by year and months. So that's going to be the year and month that we're ordering by. So I'm just going to run this. So for 2024 January, we have $2,228 in sales. For February, we have this. So since we only have 1 year, it's only showing 2024, but this is our monthly sales. So in this one, we looked at the daily sales trend, while in this one we're looking at the monthly sales trend. If you wanted to see, the month with the highest sales, you can order by total sales, but we're just going to leave it like this, but you can try it if you want to. Just in case you're a bit confused on how to do that, I don't want to change this one, so I'm just going to bring it down here, and I'm going to just order by total sales. Oh no, let's order by monthly sales, not total sales. And we're going to do it in descending order, so we can see the highest to the lowest. And I'm just going to run this. So you see that May has the highest sales, followed by December, then February, March, so on and so forth. But that's if you want to do instead of ordering it by ordering the month by order, but this time you're doing it by the total sales. So you can see the month with the highest sales. January has the lowest sales. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to just clear this because I don't want to have it in. You can leave it like that. You can keep it in your query if you want to, but I'm just going to clear that, and we can move on to the next one. Next up, let's look at the best selling products. So let's see top selling products. And I'm going to let's select I want to look at the top. You can select all of it, but let's just do the top 10 instead of just ordering it. Top 10, and we're going to reference products, and we are going to do the sum. We'll do quantity and also the total sales. So let's reference quantity as total quantity, and we are going to also get the sum of total sales as total sales. We're going to reference our table, which is the flower shop sales. We're going to group by products, and we're also going to let's order by total sales. I just noticed there's a typo here. In descending order, so we can see from the highest to the lowest. I'm going to run this query. So Orchid Baskets has the highest in terms of sales, compared to the one that comes after it. There's a $3,000 difference, and Carnation Bunch is lowest with just $2,300 in sales. If you wanted to, let me see, look at it instead of looking at it in sales, maybe for inventory purposes, and you want to see the which one sells in terms of quantity, I'm just going to run this, and Orchid Basket still sells the best, and this time Lily Bunch is the lowest in terms of quantity. But depending on what you want, you're trying to get, whether you want to see which one is most profitable or which one tends to sell the most in terms of quantity, you can go ahead and do that. But for the purpose of this particular tutorial, we're going to leave it this way by ordering in terms of total sales. Let's now move on to the categories performance. So just like we did in this one, let's say best performing categories. And we're going to select category. We're going to get the sum of sales, and we're also going to get the sum of quantity. So sum of total sales as total sales, and we are going to get the sum of quantity and this is going to be as total quantity. And we're going to reference our table from, it's going to be flower shop sales. Let's group by category, and we are going to order by total sales. Like that. So let's run our query. Miss one detail. Let's do it in descending order so we can see from the highest to the lowest. I'm going to run this. So bouquets do the best in terms of sales with $21,000 in sales, $21,600 in sales. Baskets come next with $16,200, vases $14,200, and then finally we have bunches with the lowest sales of $8,500. Now let's check out the average unit price per category. So we want to see which one is probably the most expensive. So I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to do the average unit price by category, and let's select the category column. We're going to get the average of unit price. And we're going to get our result as let's just say average units price, and this is going to be from the flower shop sales table, and we're going to group by category, and we are going to order by the average unit price. In descending order. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this query. So vases have the highest unit price, baskets, bouquets. So this first three, really there's not much difference. There's just a difference of $1 between those, but bunches has a much lower unit price, even less, just a little under, less than half of bouquets. But yeah, this is the average sale, average unit price by category. Next, let's look at the unit price of products, the average unit price of products. Since we've done for category, we can now take a moment to look at the actual products. So let's look at the average unit price by products. So we're going to select products and category, so we can still look at it to see where each product belongs. Category, and we're going to get the average unit price as average price. And we're going to do that from the flower shop sales dataset or table. We're going to group by product and category. And we're also going to look at category. And we're going to order by the average price in descending order, like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this query. So there we have it. We have 10 products, and so we have orchid baskets with the highest average price, so it tends to be the most expensive, and orchid baskets are of course part of the baskets. This one is 35, so carnation bunch has the lowest average price of all our products. So we're done with this particular query. Next, let's look at the payment method distribution. So I'm just going to move on to this next line, and this is going to be payment method distribution. Let me scroll up. Now let's select payment method, and we're going to do a count. As number of transactions and we're also going to do a sum of the total sales. As total sales. And this is going to be from the flower shop table, and we're going to group by payment method. And we're going to order by total sales. You can also do it by total transactions, number of transactions if you want, but let's just do it for total sales. And I'm just going to run this query. So the number of transactions for cards is the highest number of transactions as well as the highest in terms of sales. Next is number of transactions for online, which the number of transactions and also the total sales is the second, and then finally cash comes in last. So that's the breakdown of payment method distribution. So let's look at let's say the average sales by payment method. So let's see which category tends to spend more on average. So I'm just going to let's check the average sales by payment method. So let's select the payment method, and we're going to get the average of total sales. So now we're going to do that as let's say average. Okay, average sales from the flower shop sales table, and we're going to group by payment method, and it's going to be, we're going to order it by the average sale. In descending order like this. So let's run this query, F5, and we have that card has the highest average sale of $62, online has 59.75. If you want to reduce these decimal places to two decimal places, because you feel these digits are so long, you can use the round function. So I can just wrap this in round, and we're going to have two decimal places, and I'm going to run this query once more. So we have our results in two decimal places. So card on average spends more. There isn't that much difference between them, what you consider much difference, but card tends to spend more on average, followed by online, and finally we have cash. And that's it for this query. Next, let's look at the total sales by customer type. So I'm just going to, let's start with comments, sales by customer type. Let's go ahead, select, we're going to select the customer type, and we're going to get the sum of our sales. So total sales, going to have it as total sales, and we're also going to get a count of the number of transactions. So let's count the transactions as transactions, and that's going to be from the flower shop sales table or data sets, and we're going to group by, of course, customer type. And finally, let's order by total sales. Let's go ahead and run this query. So we have new customers. Total sales is $17,000. I'm leaving out the others. $17,000 with 289 $2,000, 289 transactions, while returning customers spend, we have more um, sales for returning customers compared to new customers, and that's the breakdown for just sales. This time let's look at the average spending by customer type. So all we need to do is we're just going to select this entire thing instead of typing it all over again, and we can see average sales by customer type. So all we need to do now is just come over here and change this sum to average, and we're going to get the average of total sales as average sales. Let's just remove this number of transactions this time, and we are going to order by average sales. I think I have that down. There's no really, if you want to, you could remove order by. It really doesn't matter because we're only dealing with two items. So this is the average for new. So returning customers still spend more than new customers. Let me add a round. If you don't like the number of decimal places we have here, once again you could just use the round function, and I'm just going to round our average to just two decimal places, and I could even remove this, so makes our query much shorter and neater, and you essentially have the same thing. But if you have much more types or whatever you're checking, then using order by tends to work. But since we just have two items here, it's fine. So for new customers, on average you spend about $59, while returning customers spend about $61. There's just about $2 difference, which isn't much. But yeah, that's it for the average spend or average sales by customer type. Next up, let's look at the sales by city. So we're just going to do sales by city, and let's select city, and we are going to take the sum of total sales. So let's just sum of total sales as total sales. And this is going to be from flower shop sales. We're going to group by city, and let's order by total sales. Okay, and let's do it in the same order. Alright, let's run this query. So we have Boston with the highest sales, Los Angeles, so on and so forth. New York has the lowest in terms of total sales. So what if you wanted to see something, because we're dealing with sales, you can either do with the sales in terms of monetary sales, or you can do in terms of quantity. Once again, when you're carrying out analysis, it depends on what you're looking for. So for sales, you can say, okay, what particular city generates the most revenue or profit. In this particular case, we didn't calculate profit. Well, in terms of quantity, you can use it for inventory and things like that, maybe for storage and all that kind of things. So let's try looking at quantity. So this time I'm going to remove total sales, and we're going to do quantity instead. So let's do quantity, and this will be total quantity, and we're going to order by total quantity. 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 I was wondering what was going on. Okay, so I'm going to run this. This time we see how Boston on top, but Atlanta has the lowest in terms of total quantity. Well, we can do both. I'm just going to return it back to its original where we use total sales. Let's combine both of it, and we can just combine sales and quantity. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to bring it down, and here we can just add the I'm just going to select all of this instead of typing it all over. I'm going to copy this, bring it here, and just like we did before, we are going to do the sum of quantity, and this is going to be total quantity. And you can order by sales or quantity, but we're just going to leave this part as it is. So I'm just going to select this entire thing. So now we have sales and quantity. So this time you can just choose which one you order it by, and you can check those parameters individually. But yeah, that's the breakdown of sales by city. Let's carry out one more query focused on the city. So let's look at the sales by city per category. So we looked at the total sales, and comparing sales and quantity. Let's look at sales by city by category. So let me just type it out: sales by category per city. So I'm going to select city, and I'm going to also select category. We're going to refer to the category column. So let's get the sum of total sales and we're going to do that as let's say category sales. Why not? So this is going to be from the flower shop datasets, and we're going to group by city and category. No, that was the wrong one. And also category. And we're going to let's order by city and category as well. So I'm just going to order by city and category sales in descending order. And oops, let's run this. So this time we can see each category under each city, and then we have the category sales ordered from highest to lowest. So for Atlanta, we can see which category does the best. So Atlanta, the category that does the best is bouquets, then bunches is on the bottom. And for Boston, bouquets also do well, but this time baskets come next, vases, then bunches. But it seems across all city, bouquets tend to be the best performing category. But let's see if there's any city where, okay, for Seattle, baskets do better than other categories before bouquets come next. I think on New York, same thing. But yeah, that's how you can get a breakdown of sales by category for your data set. Anyway, that's it for this data set. If there's any other thing you want to try or you want to look into, or any other queries you feel that you can run, you can go ahead and do that. But for the sake of this particular tutorial, we're done for this video. If you learned something and you also enjoyed watching the video, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.